Jason O'Halloran and McAMS Yamaha, set for your fifth year with the team in 2023.
Yeah, long. I've had a good stint with the McAMS Yamaha team. We've had a good run. Yeah, nice to continue again for another year. Same environment, so we know what to expect. We know what we can do. Obviously, championship wise, changed a little bit with a few guys leaving for the first time in a little while. Three of the am I right in saying three of the top guys are moving on to the world stage, which is good for me. So yeah, looking forward to what's ahead really.
In 2022, it's got to be said, if you'd fallen into a bucket of tits, you'd have come up sucking your thumb.
Yeah.
What was that about?
Oh man, it was yeah, it was just a bit of a nightmare if I'm honest. Like again, same. It was same but different to the year before, because the year before we got to the showdown and made a couple of mistakes, whereas this year we got to the showdown and it was just had been involved in other accidents with people. So yeah, it was a difficult one, especially when we'd done everything right up to that point. Like we got to the showdown, I finished every race, and I had a couple of crashes in practice and stuff, but nothing that you wouldn't expect throughout a season. No mistakes in races, which was good. Bike ran perfectly all year, no issues from that side. Get to the point of the year that everyone wants us to get to. Alton was the first round of that. Done our work there, done our job, and two corners this time from the finish of the first race, and it all started to go a bit pear shaped. So it was yeah, the beginning of a bad few weeks for us really.
Your choice of language on live on Eurosport, Alton, was fantastic. It's one of the funniest things I've seen for some time.
Yeah, it was. It was obviously full of emotion. I mean, there's no hiding from it. I was about as mad as you could be from an incident. More so, the situation made worse by the fact that it was the first race of the showdown. The main guy that we were competing against was Brad, and he was ahead of us, so I knew he was going to win the race. We were looking at losing maybe either 5 or 9 points to him in that race, which was that was absolutely the target, was to be second or third to if Brad was going to win. And then yeah, 2 corners from the end, and I get hit from behind pretty hard. When I say hit from behind, I'll reframe that. Someone come from behind through, which hit me on the way through, which took me down. Got to be careful with your choice of words when you say stuff. So it's yeah, it was about as mad as you could be really. And unfortunately for me, camera was dead on me when I was a bit emotional in the gravel or behind the tire wall, should we say. So yeah, not one of my best moments, but
well, in all fairness to you, they didn't take the camera off you.
No, exactly.
And they repeated it at least twice.
So we had a couple of replays of it, which looking back on it, obviously not the image that I want, not the image that I've built up over the years, but I think also, if you want to put a positive spin on it, it is motorbike racing. We are passionate about what we do, and that's just the realness of it. That was camera on me, live telly, and that was the aftermath of what had just happened. So yeah, it was not ideal.
Well, and you are Australian. Australians are known for being a bit sweary.
Yeah, and obviously the choice of words in Australia is quite commonly used when you're expressing something. So it's it's just one of those. Just next, if it happens again, I'll try and refrain a little bit.
No, you won't. After you'd had your 2 offs basically at the same time, did you go and speak to people concerned, or were you sat down in the corner of your garage by everybody saying, please don't go and do that?
Yeah, I didn't go anywhere after both of those accidents. I didn't speak to Pete or Tommy. I spoke to Pete on the Saturday night when I come out the back of the garage. We met at the same point. He was leaving his, I was leaving mine. So we had a bit of a conversation.
How did that go?
Yeah, as to be expected at that time. It was. I think the issue with it is that when all of us guys talk to each other and everyone individually sees people, whatever. No one has any malice in what they do. No one has any intent to hurt anybody or to. I'm sure no one on that grid actually wants to take someone out, but at the end of the day, I got taken out, and that was the scenario we were put in. So I was mad, and you try and talk through things, and everyone's obviously got their opinion on it, and in those times the conversations don't really go anywhere because I had my opinion, Pete had his opinion, and that was that really. So we sort of left it to be as it was. But and then I didn't see Tommy after the first Sunday one because I went home before the last race. I had to go and get my leg looked at. So yeah, I didn't get a chance to see him. But yeah, it was a wild weekend. That's for sure. It was one that was looking positively good for us, and it ended up about as bad as it could be in the end.
What was there anything on the riders' WhatsApp group about that weekend, or?
Well, the WhatsApp group started later. To be fair, I wish we'd had it. I wish we'd had one back then because I think it would have been a good place to have a bit of a chat about it. See what everyone's opinion was on it. But it's really tricky because when the fans see a camera angle, they have their opinion, and if they support a particular rider, they have their opinion, and then the commentators have their opinion, and the riders, we all have our own opinion on it. But I think we all know that part of the racetrack is quite dangerous, quite fast, quite difficult to pass. And when two people go in, one person comes out, there's obviously a bit of an issue there. So it's it was a strange couple of hours, shall we say. It wasn't. You couldn't believe it. I mean, it was the first one was like what happened there, and the second one was just like, God, I can't believe what's happening. So yeah, pretty bad weekend for us.
Well, you put it behind you and bounced back a little bit, but it was kind of all over by then.
I think that's the issue, like when you leave Alton over 50 points behind whatever it was in the championship, there's going to be a tough order going forwards. Not only that, the bike's been through the gravel twice at 130 odd mile an hour. The boys have rebuilt it, done an amazing job. We've got a quick turnaround to the next race, back-to-back weekends. I'm now carrying an injury into Donington, so we don't know how I'm going to be on the bike. And then we move on to Donington, get a pole position after being 18th on Friday because I just couldn't get comfortable on the bike, and finish second in race one. So it was. I think the hardest thing for us after the Saturday at Donington, we changed some things for the Sunday, but it was purely the fact that we were all so deflated from that second place, meaning that we beat Brad in that first race at Donington, and we knew that if Alton hadn't have happened, we were going to be able to fight for it. We were going to put up a good fight for it, and I would have been fit. B, we would have been on a much more positive spin than the negative spin. And even after finishing second at Donington with the pole, bouncing back after the weekend before, everyone was deflated because it was like, well, we're here, we've done a good job, but in reality, what it was what could have been rather than what is. So it was, it was a weird day, that one at Donington, because it was a really good day for us. Fastest lap I've ever done at Donington. Second in the sprint race, but yeah, it was pretty flat, to be fair.
I mean, you had your little moment.
What, on the Sunday?
On the Sunday, where it was your turn.
Honestly, the 5-day period that we had there was it was awful, and first time that I've been in a position like that. We made a change for that race. I was figuring it out in the first part of the race. Felt like I was going to be strong in the race, and didn't. I think I was battling with Andrew for 2 or 3 laps, which lost me the front group. And once I passed him, I thought I've just got to get back as fast as I can because I really thought I could win the race. And come over the top of the crest into the Melbourne Loop. As soon as I went to grab the brake, the bike pitched to the front, and I just got out of shape, and I let go of the brake to try and settle it down. Then I grabbed the brake again, and I just knew I was in, I knew I wasn't stopping, and I could see Tom. Tom had a really wide line on the way in. He was super strong in that sector as well, but he had a really wide line on the way in, and I could just, it was just in slow motion for me what was happening. And I pulled the brakes so hard to try and stop. And believe it or not, I actually tried my best to get out of the situation. Like if I'd let the brake off like I could have done, I would have probably not crashed myself, but I probably would have really hurt Tom, and I didn't want to do that. So I just grabbed the brake as hard as I could, basically endoed the thing, come back down, landed on his rear wheel, and then it just flicked me about 6 foot in the air. So I got another injury from that one, broke my thumb, and yeah, that was probably, we knew it was over after Alton, but that was probably, signing the job off really. So yeah, it was again another bad, a good weekend where we had speed. We on the podium, we had as fast as anybody, but yeah, to finish the weekend like that was not how we wanted to do it. And with Tom as well, not, you don't want to take anybody out, but I parked next to Tom pretty much every round this year. Motorhomes were parked next to each other. Didn't get to spend much time with him on the racetrack or over the weekend, but we always had a chat when we've seen each other. Super nice bloke, and it was disappointing to crash into him really.
At that point, do you just go, fuck it, this season, I can't be bothered anymore, and I'll just ride around for a bit, and then wait till the end of brands, and then go home?
Yeah, it's for sure it's difficult because you know that you're just turning up now. It's not the end result's not going to be what you wanted. It's you've sort of done your work all year to arrive at that point of the 3 rounds at the end, and it's sort of over before it gets going. So yeah, it certainly makes it difficult. Like going to brands. Like I was in a pretty positive mindset, to be fair. Like I wanted to try and finish the year with a win or another podium, but we had a few issues. I can't really remember what happened on the Saturday. We had a few issues on the Saturday. I think I had a bad starting position. Maybe qualifying was wet or something. I can't remember. I had a grid penalty. That's right. I had two row grid penalty I had. So I started back in the pack. And then on the Saturday, I was feeling strong, to be fair. I think it was a Saturday or Sunday morning, I felt pretty good. We made some positive changes overnight, and I felt like I had good speed again, really. But yeah, then that one ended again. Another ride through the, I'd say gravel, but there's no gravel there. Grass trap.
Mm. The Showdown hasn't been kind to you, let's say. No. Are you pleased to see the back of it?
No, it's been difficult for us, to be fair. And I think the last, more difficult for me than anybody else, because quite a few people have won out of the Showdown format. Quite a few people have probably ended up where they're going to be. But for the last 2 years, for sure, I've lost out massively from it, from a points scoring perspective, and performance-wise, like in 21, we won 11 races. This year, I won 7 races. This year we should have really finished second overall. I finished 5th, so it wasn't even a top 3 finish. So it was difficult. Everyone likes to use that as well when you're, at the end of the year. It's the end table says 5th, doesn't say second, so makes a lot of things more tricky. So it's a hard thing. I'm glad Stuart and his team have looked at it, and the new changes. I don't know. I've not looked at them that closely. I've obviously seen the new format. I think it'd be good. I think it's better. It's certainly a step in the right direction. It's nice to see that they're talking to the teams and the riders and putting their thoughts into it and trying to make it better. And they always do a good job. So yeah, looking forward to trying the new system out.
Are you going to make many changes for 2023? Obviously, the bike will be the same, give or take. Will you be doing anything else changing any kind of training, changing anything in the team, anybody in the team, or you're just going to, it's obviously it's a formula that has worked. There's just outside things have conspired to make it not work.
Yeah, 100%. And I think this year, especially this year, like we can look at the end result to be whatever it is, but we'd actually done everything right. Like we looked at the showdown, we used the format to try and use it to our advantage. Once we'd qualified for the showdown, we used the last 2 rounds to try as many things as we wanted to do before the showdown. We turned up to Alton, we were fast, we were ready. So I don't necessarily think that anything has to change from a nothing major has to change. We have to keep the same working process that we have done for the last 2 years, because I've won a lot of races in the last 2 years. Maybe I'm certainly always looking at things to try and make things better, and I seem to be involved in a few accidents with people, so whatever they see in my riding or what I do, they're happy to try and make passes that don't necessarily come off. So maybe I can change some things as well. I always go to Spain and do a little bit of riding on a practice bike, so I'll do that. See if we can adjust a few things from my side and see if we can help the situation out a little bit. But in general, like I think you'd be crazy to change too much, because the actual outright performance has been as strong as anybody, So I think from that side of things, we'll keep things pretty much the same. My crew chief from this year, Les, he's moved on back to the World Championship, so I'll have a new crew chief in place. So that will be the only change really with inside the team. My side of the team now, I've been with most of my guys now for pretty much the whole time I've been there. I've got a great bunch of guys. They do an awesome job. So don't want to change too much. Just a few things that we have to really.
Have you got a new crew chief, or you're in the process of?
I think I just leave that up to Steve and the guys. They're in the process of putting it together. So yeah, we'll end up with someone good. And yeah, it'll all work pretty good. And we're lucky as well now. Like I've got so much experience on the Yamaha. I've ridden it since 2019. The last 3 years have been really successful. We know the window that the bike works in, and we know this year tried a lot of stuff and learned a lot of things. I'm sure we'll have some updated stuff next year from the world guys, but I don't think it'll be anything crazy. I think it'll just be bits and pieces that we can get through in testing. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to the new year, and I think it's every time we get to the end of the year and I have the disappointment that I've had the last 2 years, you go through a period where you struggle a bit and you think, shit, like this is, how are we gonna make this better? Because I really don't like this feeling that I have at the end of each year. And I think the last 2 years have been difficult because you have a really down negative feeling, whereas on paper, when you look at the performance, you shouldn't be in that position. You shouldn't feel like that. So it's been difficult mentally, it's massively difficult to deal with that, because you look at the paper and you go, I won 7 races this year. Yeah, I feel like I've not succeeded because I've been 5th overall in the championship. But in reality, that was a system that worked against us, and the circumstances put us in that position. So it's taken a little bit of time to get through that. But yeah, I'm looking forward to next year. It's going to be good. Really motivated again. Phil, body's coming back good, which is the main thing. And the main thing for me is I just want to keep winning as many races as I can. And the statistics are what I look at with the race wins, podiums, starting to move up the ladder a little bit now on the I don't know what you call it, the all-time list there. So I just want to. A few years ago, I never would have thought I would have been on that list, but to be as high up as we are now is incredible. So just keep chasing the numbers, really.
You've got rid of the small boy in next door.
Yeah.
And you've got a wheeled a rookie in. Is that good for you or bad?
I think it can be both. Like I think on paper, losing Brad and Taz for me is great, because I won 7 races this last year and I finished 5th to them. I finished 2nd to them 5 times. 5 more races, there was one of them 2 guys that won and I was 2nd. So take them out of the equation and I think, yeah, this is great. But also you have to in our team for the last few years, me and Taz have been super competitive, you know, and we've pushed each other to the level that we arrived at because we didn't want to get beaten by each other. And likewise this year with Brad, when Brad got on the Yamaha and started going really fast, we didn't want to get beaten by him. So it pushes you all the time to get better. With Tim coming in, it's a different expectation. You know, he's a rookie, done really good job on the Superstock bike, talented guy. I'm sure will adapt to the Superbike really well and have some great results. But until he finds his feet on it, you know, if he comes in and challenges us straight away, great, because we can just push each other like we have done. But we'll have to wait and see how it you know, where he fits into the equation. But I think losing Taz and Brad, on one hand, great. On the other hand, they've also pushed me to be as good as I have been the last couple of years. So yeah, it's all right.
Cool. Now your brother-in-law keeps appearing on Facebook with an absolutely stunning girl. Is that actually his girlfriend or a rental or what? Because nobody seems to believe it.
I think it's his fiance now, actually.
Is it really?
Yeah. So he's getting.
Has he done that?
Yeah, I don't know. He's all settled down and happy, and yeah, in a really good place with it.
Well, wonders will never cease. Right, Jason, thank you very much.
No worries.
And we will probably see you at testing or something somewhere.
Yeah, awesome. Cheers, guys. Thanks very much. Have a good off season, Christmas, all that, and we'll see you in the new year.